hand over to Ian and he'll tell you what he's going to tell you.
There we go.
There we are. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Right. While searching on the internet, I found a little arm board, which is there on the screen. It's got an ARM Cortex M4 on it, a sound output device, and a digital to analog converter on it, a little amplifier, that one, the big one, is the ARM chip. That one there is the digital analog converter. And the other ones at this side are the power regulator. And then on the bottom edge there are 16 inputs, GPIO inputs, which you can define to do whatever you want. And along that side, the white connector, is a serial port, mainly for reprogramming it, but you can actually define it as a MIDI port. Right, the silver connector is a micro SD card. Get on that. And that's about it. That's all that's on there. There's nothing on the other side. And what it does is it will take information from the SD card and play it as a sound output. There's a stereo output there, and there's actually a speaker connector there, so you can actually plug in a little speaker and it will play it by itself. So it's actually playing WAV files that are held on the micro SD card. So, and therefore you can put anything in your WAV file and it will play it.
What sort of price is that?
It's about £40, I think. It's made in Los Angeles. It's playing them at CD quality sound. So you can plug in switches to the 16 inputs. Plug some sound in. My power's just fallen on the floor. The thing about it is, once you plug the power in, it's one flash and it's up. It's ready. There, it's ready. So you can press a key and it'll play a sound sample for you. If I play that one, I think it'll play a tune and then you can play along with it. And then there's a couple of spare switches. They're all definable as to do whatever you want to do with them. Right. On the card, there's an INI file, a wave trigger INI file. You could just call it a wave trigger. So you trigger in it plays a wave, basically. Put my glasses on because I can't see that. So in the INI file, it defines what you want to do with the switches and everything else. So you've got the speaker volume that you're setting, and whether the speaker's on or off, whether the external speaker's on or off, that is. trigger commands are the 16 inputs. And then the values are whether are what you want to do with the button, whether it operates when you press it or when it's released. So in this button 1, when I press it and hold it, it plays a sound. When I let go, it stops. So that's defined in those numbers there. And down the bottom, the switch number is the sample it's playing. Switch number 1 is playing C octave 1, etc. And switch 16 actually stops whatever it's doing. Oops. So if I start it playing again, I press switch 16, it stops it. Switch 14 actually plays a tune. When you press it once, it starts playing the tune and continues. So again, that's what the settings of these switches mean.
Could be the poshest doorbell going.
Yes.
And you have to answer the door. It's very important.
Again, it can, as I say, it can connect it to other devices because you can define which way up the signals are and what you want to do with them. So you can connect it to other devices. So all it's doing is going to find a WAV file that's on the card and play it. And as I say, it can either play it until you let go, or it can play it until another event happens. Right.
So how did you manage to find this one, Ian? Was it something you were looking for a job to do?
Well, yes and no. Where are we? Right. Take the power off, change the SD card. And then put this one in here. So you can actually see what's on it. Right, so that's what's on the SD card that I've just taken out. You've got the piano samples. The number at the front refers to the button that it's going to be triggered by, and then the INI file you've already seen. I've shown you what's in there, so that's all that's on that card. Right, I've got put a different card in now. So this one is the one that you probably heard when you came in. It's actually got full tracks on it, this one, taken from LPs. So this time when I press a button, yeah, so it's playing it. Right, it's a bit slow starting. So that's track 1 playing. Right, so this time we've got the switches 1 to 10 with tracks against them, and then switch 13 is you can adjust the volume up or down, and then switch 15 plays the next track. So you can switch through them. Or you can select it manually. So again, this time it's full samples taken from LPs that it's on the disc, converted to WAV files, so it's CD quality. So that's that one. As I said, there's a serial port connection on there. So I've got a serial to USB adapter, and when you plug that in and switch a switch, you can upload a different program. They keep sending out different software updates, so you can load in different programs, newer versions of the program with that. Or you can connect on a MIDI input device, which is like that. Oops. If I look at the MIDI INI file, there's actually less in there. Because there's banks of information. There's a lot more samples because every note that you play on from a MIDI keyboard has to have its own sample. So there's an awful lot of samples on the micro SD card, and you can change the bank so that you can have another 128 samples for each note that's possible to play. So and so on, it keeps going on and on. So the numbers get quite big. So I've got other samples, Thunder and Rain, for instance. And then you can set up the switch to stop playing. You can change the bank, or you can have volume up and down on that one. Right, so I've got another little card in this black box here, which is set up to play as a MIDI device. So you can send it MIDI signals and it will play as if it's a sampler, basically, which is the reason I sort of bought it in the first place, this little card.
So would you be using this to create music rather than to play it?
Just it will only play it. You need another device, like a PC or something, to create the WAV file or to edit the WAV files or to get them off CDs, and then put them on the micro SD card, and that will just play them. Just a simple player. Right, so we need something to generate MIDI, because as I said, all that stuff over there is MIDI. So I've got a MIDI adapter on the Raspberry Pi, interface there, and a MIDI cable going in. So I need something that will play MIDI. Right, the Raspberry Pi, when you buy the complete image, comes with programming on it. And in there, there's Dr. Wimp, which is a programming tool. So, there's full documentation in there of how to use it. I'll just double click on that while I'm in here. Right, so what you have to do, there's a dummy application, which is my app there, that starts you off. So, you grab that and stick it somewhere where you're going to use it. And then I've got some notes here to help me remember what's going on. So I've copied the My app to somewhere, then I've got to rename it to something that I'm going to use. Use a keyboard. And then we can open it up. Then I've got to create a sprite really, so that I know it's mine. So I've got an old sprite that I've used before, which is there. So I'll make that a bit bigger. Where's my colours? I'll show the colours. So I'll just make that a bit thinner. Save that, right, that's the one I'm going to use. So in the sprite files in the application, double click on those. I can get that one and stick it in there. Just come down there. But I want to rename it to my application. So that one I don't need anymore. I also want to copy it, because there's two files in there. Right, and I can save that file. There's a Sprite 22 version, so I can just copy those over for now. Save that one, save that one. So I've got two sprite files with my application name in them. Right, I've got to edit the run files now to tell it where the information is, the boot and the run. Shift double click on that to get into it. Well, I'm going to copy it out of there for ease of looking about. Just down. The same with the run file. Control C, that. And the same with that one. Right, so if I run that program, the sprite should have changed now. You can see it's actually starting to change. Open the parent, close it again, it's gone to the right sprite. That sprite I've created has appeared now as my application as a sprite. Right, what's next? Templates. I need to create a template. Well, in the utilities directory of Dr. Wimpy, there's all sorts of editors. If you just go in there and double click it and close it again, now when you double click on the template file, it will open the editor for you automatically. So it's appeared at the top corner. So I want to create a window, which is there. In there I want to put some icons, create some icons. Right, so I want a label first off. You click and hold and then you can drag it to wherever you want. You can extend it. Double click on it, opens an editor window, so I can change its name. Now appears as that. I want a data entry window. Click and hold, and then you can drag it. Put one in there. You can make it as long as it's writable, because I'm going to want to write into there. So there. Right. Just get these a bit more central. Click on that and adjust on that one. I can then copy that down. In fact, I'll copy it right because it's easier to grab it. If I shift and click and drag, it will shift. I can grab both of those and move them to where I want. Change that one. I want a program. Right, and I want to do the same again. Select selection and copy it. Right, shift.
Yeah.
Double click on that one. I want octave in this one. Update that one. Same again. Select, copy. Right. Shift in that one. Double click on that one. Notes in this one. In that one, I don't want anything. Right. I want one more window icon rather. I want the data output this time because I want to put some information in that. Menu on that, you can adjust its title. So that's appeared at the top of it. Menu again, I can adjust its size, so I want to minimise it. Okay, that. So So the toolbars have appeared. And now I can save it. So I can close that. I can go to this window with the menu. I can save a whole lot. Right. So I've now got a window called main with these icons on. If you look on the other side of the screen, there's another little thing. When you move your pointer over an icon, it will tell you in there what it is and what number it is, which is quite useful. Right. Next, what's next? So we've created the template. Right, the run image program in it is actually a dummy program to allow you to add things to it. There it is. Right, the second line is defining where the library is, and the library is there, the Dr. Winfrey file. So it's actually in my application, so I'm going to copy that into there. And remove that other one. Next, application name. And the date. But here's the bother with the pattern I put in there. Right. So we're up to there. Right. The first thing that runs in this program is the user initialization subroutine or procedure. So this is where you've got to define everything. Right, so there it is. So move things in here. I want to now set up the names of all the windows and things that I've defined. Right, this little application is quite useful. If you want to find out what things are, it's like a big help. You can, wait a minute, section icons. I want to write on an icon. So put some text in an icon there. It gives you information about how to do it and the line you need. And in fact, if you scroll down, you can export it to the caret. So if I put the caret there, export it, it will write it in for me. It's quite useful. I'll come to that in a minute, that one. I've got the information window, which they give you automatically, which is that. So I want to define the information window, and that's there. And in that information window, I want to fill in these fields. So again, if you look at the top corner, the top one is icon 0 when I move my pointer over it. And here, it's going to use this line to put information into the icon. So for save time, we'll copy all this in. And we'll just get rid of that for the time being. So in icon 0, it's going to put my app name, which I've defined up there. Icon 1, which is that, it's going to put in whatever I had to put in there. Same with the one there. The version I've already defined up there, version string. So it will put it in there. So that's defined my information window. Next, the icon bar. So I need to define an icon bar. there, so it'll appear on the bottom of the screen. So it's going to be ping the app name, which I've defined there. Again, if you want to find more information about this, you can look in this application, and it'll give you the whole of the information in it. So what am I doing? I'm doing icon bar section. It'll be in here somewhere. It's a function with icon bar. No, it's not in that section. Anyway, I'm not going through all that at the moment. But there's information there on what that does. Right, I want to define, when you put the menu over an icon bar, you've got all these entries. I want to define those for my application. So this is the submenu, so that's this one here. And then I want to attach it to my icon bar that I've just created. So the name icon bar menu, I've created it, and it's got the application name which I've defined, and it's got an information and a quit. And I'm going to attach it as a submenu to my icon bar. Right, I've defined my main window up there. I want to now define it in the program. So it's a similar process. And all that is defining where it is, what it's called on the directory. Right, that's all I need to do for the initialization. So I've defined information, the bar menu and the main. Right, so I now want to, when I want to open the window, so when I do a user mouse click, which is there, so this is called when you do a user mouse click on your icon, and it comes in here with the window name, the icon number, and screen position. So if the window is the bar, because I've defined it there, then I want to open the window called main. And if I click on the menu, the user menu, then I want it to do the similar job. So user menu. Where's it gone? No, I haven't. I put it in the wrong one. That should have been mouse click. Should have been in there. So that wants to be there. And that one wants to be in there. So I'm going to come in here with the window and an icon. So if the window is the bar, then I want to open the bar menu. Right, the last bit for now is I want to be able to quit the program. So if I do a user menu selection, I want to be able to quit the program. So it's user menu selection. So if it's the bar menu and it's the item 2, which is quit, starts 1, 2, and I'm going to call a procedure which is in the .wimp library, which will quit the program. Right, so if I save that as a basic file, and if I've got everything right, it should Yeah, it should. Double click on that. Appear down here, and it has. Click the menu over there. I've got my entries. Got the information window filled in. If I click with the select button, it opens the window. And if I do menu and quit, it quits it. Right. So the next thing is I want to do something useful with it. So that's now got the application to open things and close itself, and now I want to be able to do something with it. Right. So I want to now fill in my windows to start with. So in the user initialization again, I want to make the channel, define the channel, and then write the channel in the window. The same with the program and the octave and a note, define a note. If I double click on there and open a window, it's just done everything as I wrote it when I created the window. So now, let's save that. Double click this time. When I open the window, let's put the right numbers in here now. MIDI numbering always starts at 0, whereas WeNum starts at 1. So you've always got to add 1 to the end of things, and it gets complicated. Right, so if I want to adjust or change the channel number, I want to be able to click in this icon and do it. So it's user key pressed. Which is there. Copy that in. Right. So I've defined some variables. I'm going to return, I always need to return with the correct value, so I can predefine that. So if the window is the main, and it's icon 1, well, if I open the other one, the main one, so that one is, if you look up there, is icon 1. So if the window is main and the icon number is 1 and the key is 13. So if you made it writable and you write a line in and put carriage return, the carriage return is 13. So this program only comes back if you hit the carriage return. So then I need to find out what I typed in that window with a function, get the icon text, get the text from the icon, and it's in the main and it's icon number 1 into Word, and I need to convert that to a number. So I want the value of the word and I want it as a whole number, integer, so it's number. If I've typed it in wrong, so if it's greater than 0, because I don't want 0, and there's 16 channels in the MIDI cable, so if it's greater than 17, I don't want it either. The new channel is the number -1, because as I say, the channel number is 0 to 15. Then I'm going to put it back in the window, in the icon in the window, and return. So to save that, get rid of that because that's the old one. Click in there and put in 4. It's done it, it's accepted that. I put in 0, it won't do anything. Can't see anything happening at the moment because I haven't told it what to do with it. It's just updated the variable called channel. Right, the next, I want to do the same with the program. It's a similar setup. The program is icon 3. Again, if you look at the top there, so very similar. The window is main, the icon is number 3, and it's key 13 for carriage return. This time, the program number can go between 0 and 1 to 7. So I want 0 to 1 to 8. If I'm inputting the number. The rest of it's the same. The octave window, or icon. I've all that in there. The octave window is number 5. It's just the same, but the octave range is going to be 1 to 6. That I'm going to use in there. Right, the next problem we've got, or I've got, is that these writable icons will only come back to this program if you put a carriage return on the end. So if I put like that out, put a 1 in and then carriage return, then it calls the program. I want to simulate pressing a piano keyboard, so it's not going to work in this case, so we've got to get a bit devious about this. Right, there's a null program here that is called all the time. Or you can tell it to be called whenever you want. Whenever you go to this window, it comes through the null program. So I can use that program to test whether anything's arrived in this note window here. Normally it's blank, so if I put something in there, I can see if anything's arrived in that window yet. And when I'm doing it up here, I don't want anything to happen till I press carry return. In this window I do want to be able to sense when I've pressed a key and when I've let go of the key. So I'm going to use the null program to do that. Move it on. This is there. So I'm going to ask whether anything's arrived in the note window yet, the note there. So open it up with that one, it is window 7, icon 7 in that window, in the main window. Right. So, I've defined a string word. I want to put in there whatever I've typed in that window. And so I'm going to get it from the main icon, main window icon 7. So I'm going to get anything that's in that window. If it's blank, and this is an escape, and the note is 200, then it's it's not equal that, then I'm going to do it. So then if it's not blank and the note is 200, then it's a new key. So I want to find out what I've typed. I'll just shove that there. So what I'm going to use is this keyboard layout. So for a piano keyboard, so if I press the Z, it actually wants to come out as a C. So I want to find out whether I've got my finger on the Z. So I've already got it in Word, so I'm going to blank it out. So next time round it doesn't come through here. So I want to find out if it's a Z. Right, so if it's a Z, I'm going to make the note equal 0, and I'm going to make that number minus 98. If it's not, I'm going to just blank it all out. So if it is a Z, then in the information window, which is window 8, the message window that I've created, number 8, I'm going to write the MIDI information that I need to send out on the MIDI file. So it's a hexadecimal 9 plus the channel number, and a space, and then the octave times 12 plus the note, and then the loudness, which is 64. So we'll write that into the window for me. The next section is what to do if it's key release. So if the key if it was a valid key, I'm making the note 0. If it's not valid, it's 200. So this is the bit that senses when I've released the key. So I've got in there the program I'm going to use to sense whether I've pressed the key or released the key. To use the null program itself, I need to define a couple of other things, as it says there. Right at the start, I need to tell it to pull at a given time period, so I need to change that line to that. There. And the other thing I need is I need to define this line here. Null is true. It's always defined as false by default, so it doesn't go through the null program. So I want to turn it on, so I'm going to have to enable it in the initialization program. Right. Save that. And run it. This is where it all goes wrong, I expect. Not so far, so good. I click in there, and press the Z, nothing happens. What I've done wrong. still works. That still works. That still works. And that one doesn't.
So you just resaved it or not?
Yeah, saved. So I've missed something somewhere.
Haven't got caps lock or anything daft like that, have you?
No. If it had worked. Yeah. If it had worked, then I can put in the other keys that I'm going to use to there.
Yeah.
Unit under the case. Case on, that's a Z. So, put in all the other keys that I want to pick up. So this is defining the rest. If the next key is S, so I want C sharp for that one, S, C sharp. So the note is 1, and it's going to look for a -82, and so on, X up to dot, or comma, there. So that should, if it was working, pick up all the keys that I'm going to use. Right. The next thing I need to do is actually make it send that information out on the MIDI port, on the serial port. So the first thing I need to do is load the Pi serial module. I need to tell it to do that in the run file, which is these two lines here. So when I click on the run file, it will see if the Pi serial module is loaded, and if not, it will load it and tell me that it's not. It will try and load it, if not, it will tell me it's not loaded. So that's the first thing. I need a module to talk to the serial port. The next thing I need to do is define what the how the serial port's set up. So in the initialization of it again, I need to define the URT settings. So the speed for the MIDI is that 31,250. And so that's the command to talk to the module to set the speed to that. It's 8-bit, 1 stop bit none, so that's the format. And I want to empty the buffer, the TX transmit buffer. So I now need to actually put in here the commands to send that data out on the serial port. So in the user key pressed, if it's the program, I need this bit in. So I'm going to transmit a code hexadecimal C plus the channel, C0 plus the channel. And then the second bit is the program number I'm going to transmit out. So when I enter a number into the program window, it's going to transmit out on the serial port. So I need to then send out when I've pressed a key and when I've released a key. So in the null program, I need to put in here, after here, these three commands. The first one tells it it's a note on, so it's the channel it's a note on and it's the channel number. The second word is the octave plus the note, and the third is how loud it's going to be. And then if I want, I've got to turn it off, so to a similar command. "80 hexadecimal plus a channel" is the command to say note off, and then this is the note, the octave times 12 plus the note is the actual note I'm going to turn off, and I want no loudness, 0 loudness. Right, we know it ain't going to work. If I double click on there, everything's gone so far. Okay, so far. Here's what I prepared earlier. So there's the program as I've typed it in. One click on that. So channel 1, program 1. So I click in there, press a Z. We get a noise. It's gone out on the MIDI cable. It's gone into that box there. Unfortunately, well, let's just change it to program 1. And it's a piano. It's a bit loud. So when I hold the Z key, it starts playing, and when I let go, it stops. That's the last one. There. So that's going down the MIDI cable and to that box there, which is a general MIDI player. I change that to channel 10. Oops. This time, get a drum kit. Change that to channel 11. I have to wet the PC open. Is it still alive? Yes, it is. Right. Right, I've got Hammond organ in there. So, channel 11. No, we haven't. Stop channel 11. Yeah, it's channel 11. probably. No, we don't.
No.
I think I've got the cables in the wrong way round. No, I haven't. I've got the cable in the wrong way down. It's better. Right. In the message window, you can see this command being sent out when I press the note. Right. Go to channel 14, that little box here, which is one of these wave players. It's taken us a long time to get there, but anyway, we're there. What's going on for this? In doubt. Oh, yes, I've got them in the wrong. I have got them in the wrong place. Right. Right, we're there. Right, it's going to play this little here. Right, on program number 1 there's a mellotron sound. An old mellotron sound which is copied as a file. Program 2, it's a mellotron cello sound. So this is just playing wave files from that little card. Three is a choir. Flute. Mellotron flute. Mellotron was a tape player originally. It used to drag pieces of tape across heads when you pressed a key. It was a keyboard in the really old days, before synthesizers.
Weighed a ton.
It's used on the strawberry field, which is probably where you know the flute from.
Look synthesizer, that won't it?
No. This is just someone playing a flute recorded onto something.
Onto tape.
Onto tape, which then had a master tape made, which then had a slave tape made, which then had a copy that they got put in the playback thing, so I could keep making copies and still keep the original masters. I was just reading about how they made them originally, and yes, they did weigh a ton and had a motor about the size of Godzilla and a bit more than that. You have to have a fan heater on them to not get moisture in them.
These samples are all on the internet, which is where I got them from. This one is strings. And then the last one I've got is violins. Sounds awfully like strings to me, but
as a musician, I'd say they're nicely run. But characterful.
right. You can put other instruments in as well. It's just wave files I'm playing. So we've got electronic piano, which I sampled off one of my boxes. And then the last bit in here is 9. And I need octave 6 for this one. Right. Now thunder. And rain. So it can be anything you want to sample it. And I've got another one.
Unexpected item in bagging area.
Anything you want to do. Anything you want to do. Right. So that's this little card being used as a MIDI device.
Not cheaper than a Mellotron, I can tell you. In fact, I think BBC used Mellotrons for sound effects. Because up till then you had to do what they called Foley sound effects. You had to have someone making the sound effects live. It's very difficult doing functions. What was that?
Right. I've squeezed an old PC into this 19-inch rack that I have, because you can actually get sound emulation programs for other devices. So if I switch the source a moment. Oh, missed it. It's an old XP machine I used to have. I squeezed it into a 19-inch rack, and it now just plays these emulations. Right, so you can play notes with the mouse. And down there. And you can change the voice, and it changes all the keys for you at the same time. Knows all the keys about for you. Oh. And you will also do it via MIDI. So I can do it from the MIDI keyboard. I can can also change the program number, and it'll change the keys. I'll put a different number in. It'll move the keys about, and this is controlled from MIDI.
Is this an Arturia program?
Somewhere on here as well. I think it is, actually. No, it's Native Instruments.
Oh, Native Instruments, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a number of different companies do similar things.
Emulations.
Yeah.
Right, I've got a little program here. Where is it? See, that's where it is. For that.
So is that a .NET program that's playing?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Also, yeah, got a Moog synthesizer. With all its stuff. It's a bit. This PC unfortunately is a bit slow for this one, but. Alright, so if I click in there, the keyboard will appear. So that's playing that again. We've got up here. We can change the instrumentation, and there's hundreds of them. And it moves all the dials around when you change the key. Is that way you saw it move all the keys around? Go back to that one. That one shows you all the cabling as well. And you can move all these about and play with it for hours and hours and hours, doing things. Again, you can play this via MIDI. changes the program and it'll change all the wiring for you and all the settings on the dials. There we go. It'll add and move all the wires about for you. So there's lots and lots and lots of them in here. The only problem with this one, because it's a slow PC, there's a delay from pressing the keyboard to the sound coming out. A bit latency. So it's not really usable to play as a live instrument, but you can always sample it and put it in the in one as a wave in one of these if you're happy with the sound you've got. So you can use this to generate a sound and then record it, create a wave file and put it in the other device. Right. Put another little piece in just to try and show you what it can do. See the keyboard? So that's a use for your old PC. There's one or two others on it as well. So again, this has got all the stuff on it. Again, I can play that remotely from MIDI. There's a bit of latency on that one as well. Another one. just a sequencer. Which you can't play remotely, but it is just a sequencer. So those are all emulators that you can get from PC. So that's using the Thunder sample. So you can create all your own various tunes. And if we try one of these.
You got a sonic boom. Very good.
I haven't got the timing quite right on these yet. Let's try that. Try that one instead. Yeah, just right, that's all I've got to show you. Questions, or I'll just go and have a play?
One question. I didn't have time to sort of look in passing. And this remind me what this ball's called. It's
Wave trigger.
wave trigger. There's also an MP3 trigger.
Yes.
Is that basically the same except it deals with MP3 files?
Yes, absolutely. It won't play MIDI though. Won't play by the serial, but it will play. It will play MP3s and triggered from keys, but not by MIDI. Which is why I'm doing this one.
Slightly less versatile in it, really, than the wave.
Yeah, and there's a third one which does JPEGs, and it's got a video output, so you can trigger buttons and it will put pictures up.
Another question I've got for you is: have you got sound sample of Happy Birthday.
If I don't know, and I could have brought one.
It's a pity, isn't it, Peter?
It is, yeah.
If you want to fess up,
Yeah. 60 years old today.
you're actually lyrical about mellotrons.
That's right, well, yeah.
You re-
I've read about them, yeah.
When you reach the age of 60, it is compulsory by law that you must have a strong opinion on absolutely every subject imaginable.
I know all the bus timetables.
You must
I'll be
memorise
grumpy about them.
I think to get your bus pass, mate, you've got at least 3 or 4 years to wait.
I think it depends. The
Sadly.
official retirement age for me is 66. I'm going to go at 63
Yeah.
because it's sort of mind the gap. But I've got pension started next month, but it probably won't sustain me for 6 or 7 years. But working for 3 and doing another bit for 3 should be.
There you go. Congratulations on surviving this long.
Yeah.
Despite being a child in the 50s and everything, with no health and safety.
No.
Rickets, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, can we, if there's no other questions, can thank Ian, please?
Rock, helping you with Acorn and Riscos computing.